Tools you need for the job besides a jack and jack stands or something to get the wheels off. There's 7/8 sockets. For me, the impact wrench was not enough to turn them. They're 140 foot-pounds torqued, although I think whoever did them before did an impact wrench on them. So I had to use the breaker bar there to get them loose, and then the impact to take them off. Torque wrench to put them back on at 140 foot-pounds. Plastic pry tool to remove the center hubcaps. I had to use that to put the little metal clips on. 19mm socket to get the caliper bolts. 74 foot-pounds on the torque wrench. 3/4 inch wrench if you need to hold the bolt on the caliper while you're screwing the other bolt in. I know that sounds weird to have a bolt and a bolt, but that's the best way I could describe it. 10mm for your bleeder valves. Screwdriver or pry bar to lift the caliper off. I like using the power wrench whenever I can. Got the copper anti-seize, the brake lubricant, the brake quiet. You can get away with using one of those products instead of that, but I like this product. I put anti-seize on the lug nuts just because they're so tight. You need some .3 brake fluid unless your car calls for a different flavor, such as .4. And then something to compress the caliper piston. And I like this tool here because it's got the soft edges on it. And as always, I put this on the back of the pads. The front, you got your bleeder valve there. You've got 19mm bolts there and there that are holding on the caliper. Now, with a lot of front brakes, including this one, if you're just changing out the pads, you can remove the bottom bolt, loosen the top, and then this will rotate up, and then you can change out the pads. The only issue with doing that is you need to also at least grease the pin in here, so after you're done with that and you flip it back down, then you have to pull this bolt completely out. So leave it up to you. I'm kind of torn on it. Sometimes I rotate them up and sometimes I just take the whole thing off because it kind of becomes just as much work, so you may as well just take it off anyway, but that's up to you. These are probably 19mm, 3/4 inch is so close that they both fit about the same, so either one should work. The rears were 38 and these are 74, so they're going to be real tight. And just like most cars, you probably have to pry this. You probably have to try to squeeze it sideways as well to try to compress the pistons a little bit. And then just try to pry that off of there. See, those were rusted up and not as worn as the rears, but certainly not looking new. And with all this hardware rusted up, I think it's a good time to replace all this. Pretty worn out.
It's just like payback from yesterday with the airplane hit Gary's car. Get it! Hope he does too. Get it!
See, that's lost most of its grease. Alright, grease that pin. I'll have to do the top one after I put all this back together. Put some anti-seize there. I'm trying to thin it out a little bit.
Oh, okay. It's not
Upper probably need to be squeezed on with the tool too. Next, we need to compress the caliper. See the fluid as I squeeze. So you want to get those all the way in like that. Outer pad, which is the smaller one. Take your time, it will eventually go on. It doesn't like to go around these metal brackets very well, but it will do it. You know when you're kind of going blind. But lucky on that one, it went in without any trouble. And then we rotate this down, and we're going to have to press in there to get that over it. Finger tighten the bolt on the bottom. We'll take the top one off. Allows us to slide this out. Pull this pin. Pull that pin straight out. Slide that back in. And like I said, you want to check and make sure that it has free movement there. And then we'll squeeze that in and allow the caliper to come back over it. That bolt back in there as well. Tighten these. And this supposedly does 60 foot-pounds, but I find it actually is probably 20 or 30. Torque them to 74 for this model, 80 if you got a 2500. And if the bolt in the back is spinning, you have to support it with a wrench. 140 foot-pounds, and then we're looking for that tab to go right there. The last step is to refill your master cylinder so that you'll know as your brakes wear out, the level will go down. So we'll start at the max level, and we'll know if it hits the minimum, we're out of pad life for sure.